Jadi sesuai dengan tema gitu ya, teknologi memberi saya pokoknya tentang teknologi dan pedagogi kan. Tapi kan saya bukan yang punya ilmu pedagogi sebenarnya gitu kan. Ngapain tapi saya belum pernah di training pedagogi sebenarnya. Jadi saya berusaha semaksimal mungkin untuk bisa menghadirkan pengalaman kami berdua ketika mengajarkan materi. Mengajarkan di kelas visi yang selama ini saya pimpin prodinya. Oke, kita mulai ya. Jadi can I speak bahasa supaya lebih relax.
Aku yang jawab ya, maaf.
Pak, ada orang Amerika, Pak. Ada orang Amerika, Pak.
Oh iya. Pak Surya.
Kurang dari Boston.
Pak Pri masih jet lag mungkin. Dia mendengarkan mendengarkan bahasa Indonesia.
Orang dari Amerika tuh, Pak.
Oke, jadi pagi ini sesuai dengan requestnya Bu Peggy, saya men-sharing tentang knowledge creation for the society. Artinya apa? Ini gimana caranya kita menghadirkan knowledge untuk para generasi strawberry atau generasi Z, yang mana sebenarnya kalau saya bandingkan waktu saya kuliah art and design 20 tahun yang lalu dengan art and design sekarang, itu udah beda banget. Karena apa? Karena teknologinya udah disrupt. Dan kalau zaman saya 20 tahun yang lalu nggak ada, ya kita ada tutorial, kita harus tanya, kita harus dan nggak nyala ya mikrofonnya udah minta batas. Next. Oke, jadi pengalaman saya sebagai dosen sebenarnya dimulai 11 tahun yang lalu. Ketika saya masih bekerja di Transcorp di Trans 7, kemudian saya diminta oleh Fakultas Komunikasi di Paramadina untuk mengajar, gitu ya. Mengajar apa? Saya bilang gitu. Ya pokoknya Mas Tombak sharing aja gitu kan. Karena waktu itu saya masih punya pengalaman sebagai dosen gitu. Akhirnya di kelas itu sebenarnya yang terjadi adalah saya kebanyakan sharing. Waktu saya datang, saya sharing tentang apa yang ada terjadi di industri. Kemudian saya mencoba share dan akhirnya itu menjadi kebiasaan saya sampai saat ini untuk gimana keep relevan terhadap industri untuk mengajar. Nah, ada suatu quote sebenarnya waktu saya jadi dosen. Ini waktu pertama lagi dosen, saya lihat quote-nya si Einstein ini adalah dia bilang, if you can explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Jadi artinya saya harus simple menjelaskan sebuah masalah yang kompleks yang terjadi di industri kepada mahasiswa saya. Tapi yang terjadi adalah lagi Pak Arif. Saking nervousnya. Oke, so but in design gitu ya, Pauran adalah seorang yang mendesain logonya IBM, logonya CLA dan segala macam. Itu dia bilang design can be art, design can be aesthetic, but design is so simple, that's why it's complicated. Artinya sebenarnya saya harus mengerjakan sebuah yang complicated untuk sesuatu yang simple. Nah, setelah berdiskusi dan setelah 11 tahun, sebenarnya saya diskusi sama Arya juga kemarin. Kalau di area desain atau di area kita sebenarnya kalau desain itu adalah applied art, artinya adalah seni terapan. Seni terapan berarti kita beda sama seni murni atau fine art. Ketika seni murni itu lebih ke expression, kalau kita adalah sebenarnya di mana the art can be solved the client's problem. Nah, artinya ini sebenarnya baru nemu kemarin sih gitu waktu gue isi dulu apa ya sebenarnya key point-nya. Kalau saya dan Pak Ade kemarin udah diskusi, ada 4 poin yang kita biasa lakukan di dalam kelas ke young generation ini adalah be relevant. Artinya semua topik yang kita ajarkan relevan dengan industri. kemudian be contextual, di dalam konteks, tetap dalam konteks, kemudian be eksperimental, artinya kita membebaskan juga anak-anak atau mahasiswa kami untuk bereksperimen dengan karya-karya. Dan be co-creative, artinya kita sebagai partner ketika membuat sebuah karya yang kreatif. Jadi kita sebagai creative director, kita sebagai advisor untuk merespon atau membantu mahasiswa di desain. Oke, so be relevant, mungkin Bapak Ibu udah tahu ya, sebenarnya it need to be make sense ketika kita ngajar. Nah, biasanya kalau kita di awal tahun di VCD, kita selalu melakukan namanya town hall, dan supaya anak-anak mahasiswa kita itu mengerti apa sih sebenarnya yang akan mereka pelajari sama 4 tahun. Mungkin tahu, mungkin ibu udah sering, Bapak Ibu sering banget baca ini ya, skill outlook. Sebenarnya yang saya dan teman-teman VCD adalah kita sangat terinspire dengan nomor 3 dan nomor 4. Ada creativity, originality, inisiatif, teknologi, desain, and problem. Tentu saja yang lain menjadi sebuah supporting untuk mencapai number 3 dan number 4. Dan di Kemenparekraf, Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif, ini dia juga mengeluarkan forecast trend futures, ada IoT, robot, drones, 3D printing, AI, blockchain, VR, AR. Nah, kebetulan di area kita di VCD ini VR, 3D printing, dan IoT menjadi one of our main area di tahun ketiga dan tahun keempat. Nah, untuk supaya mereka relevan, saya dikasih tahu bahwa Meta atau Facebook mengeluarkan roadmap. Mereka udah acquire ini dan mereka sekarang sudah sampai tahap di going to metaverse yang sering kita dengar saat ini. Jadi artinya apa? Mereka setelah membuat ekosistem sosial media, dia mengakuisisi semua pengguna sosial media termasuk WhatsApp dan Instagram, and then they will build this one, connectivity, AI, VR, and AR. Artinya nanti yang kita pelajari teman-teman desain should be relevant with the future industry in the design or creative industry. Nah, ini yang saya tekankan berkali-kali di teman-teman di cluster VCD, di town hall meeting atau di start of semester meetings. So tema kita sebenarnya kalau saya dengan VCD selalu di 3 area: arts, design, and technology. We gotta blend it all together to make something creative, and then hopefully the student will be absorbed in the industry. And then be contextual, artinya kita punya koridor. Apa yang kita pelajari konteksnya terhadap perkembangan ini. In the first year, mereka akan belajar semua design fundamentals, and then we gonna talk about mempelajari ke medianya. Di sini ada convergence. Kalau dulu waktu saya masuk di TV hanya satu medianya, yaitu televisi. Tapi sekarang udah lagi ada, Bapak Ibu udah tahu juga pasti ada smartphone, ada YouTube, ada alternatif dan segala macam. Ini yang dinamakan convergence media. Dan kita juga mempelajari karakteristik audiensnya kayak gimana, apa yang mereka ingin lihat. Jadi ini kontekstual yang ada di dalam VCD. Nah, saya juga bilang kenapa kontekstual? Karena why the story is being told is just important as how the story is being told. Jadi cerita sebuah informasi dan cara menyampaikannya itu gitu. Jadi dua-duanya harus equal. Jadi story-nya juga harus interesting. Jadi kenapa Verdi Sambo itu terus-terusan digoreng sama media, karena waktu saya bekerja di TV ya karena itu ditonton. Dan itu ada dramanya. That's the number one Indonesian people drama. Unfortunately, jadi kenapa kalau misalnya saya selalu tanya, Mas Tombak waktu saya, kenapa sih sinetron masih ada? Ya karena penontonnya masih ada. That's simple. Nah, ada sebuah TV sebenarnya yang mencoba mendobrak yaitu Net TV, akhirnya mereka juga kolaps dalam waktu 5 tahun. Which is
yaitu Indonesia. Tapi sebenarnya ada hopes-nya, gitu, ada hopes-nya. Nah, sekarang gimana saya sebagai saya mendidik teman-teman desain komunikasi visual, ya. Jadi desain komunikasi visual ada komunikasinya, ada visualnya. And this is the mantra. Why the story is being told is just important how the story is being told. Nah, ini sebenarnya saya nggak akan menjelaskan ini semua, tapi akhirnya ini adalah mantra kita juga, desain multidisiplin digital and collaboration, gitu ya. Dimana di tahun pertama dia akan belajar design foundation, kemudian di tahun ketiga mereka belajar teknologi, karena lagi saya bilang lebih relevan with the current industry. Nah, ini akan dijelaskan sama Arya sebetulnya, karena Arya akan menjelaskan gimana di dalam kelas nanti project based-nya. Tapi ini adalah yang ketiga dan keempat. Di eksperimental, di sini kita membebaskan mahasiswa untuk membuat apa yang mereka mau, karena siswa mereka berkembang. Biasanya sih tahun pertama kedua mereka bingung, tapi tahun ketiga mereka udah mulai tahu apa yang mereka dia suka. Jadi kayak contoh, saya punya contoh di tahun pertama kedua ada mahasiswa yang bingung, pasti bingung gitu ya. Nanti di tahun ketiga ketika diperkenalkan coding, ternyata dia suka sama coding. Dan akhirnya di final year project dia membuat games, dan sekarang dia diterima di Pertamina. Apa ya, Pertamina interaktif gitu, pokoknya gitu. Setelah barusan lulus. And then be co-creative artinya apa? Karena kita percaya, semua dosen fisik percaya bahwa creativity cannot be taught, it's given. It is given dan mereka lahir. But it can be awakened, artinya bisa di-trigger. Nah, ini adalah typo, tapi ini adalah gimana kita cara untuk men-trigger para mahasiswa dengan assignment dan project-project yang menarik. Ini contoh dari space project. Ini contoh karya kita. Itu sebagai kecil karya kita, Pak akan lebih menjelaskan lebih dalam praktek dalam kelas. Silakan Pak. Gantian gua aja ya ini. Boleh silakan.
Saya tertarik dengan term be co-kreatif itu apa sih bedanya dengan be creative?
Oke, jadi be co-kreatif artinya sebenarnya kita tidak memaksakan. Jadi biasanya kita ngambil ide dari teman-teman mahasiswa, misalnya di kelas. Biasanya di tahun ini adalah tempat gitu. Ada kelas-kelas sama experimental design, ada collaborative design, kemudian ada of course ke MIT. Tapi akhirnya be co-kreatif artinya adalah ide tetap dari mereka. Mereka akan bikin apa sesuai dengan minat mereka. Nanti kita akan bagi-bagi gitu misalnya. Oke, misalnya ada yang lebih tertarik dengan bikin games atau games biasanya dengan siapa nanti pembikinnya, atau misalnya ada yang bikin video gitu dengan saya. Kita akan membantu dari sisi technical, dari sisi advisor, dari sisi timeline, gitu ya, dari sisi ini visible. Dan ada advice yang kita kasih bahwa oke, harusnya kayak seperti ini. Jadi sebenarnya kita berfungsi sebagai sebagai kalau di industri namanya sebagai graduate advisor, tetap direkturnya di tim mereka. Itu sih sebenarnya progresi. Jadi kayak partner ya. Ada yang dua.
Ada lagi pertanyaan?
Ya Pak.
Tentang diri Pak Bambang.
Siap.
Keuntungannya apa ya? Pak Bambang kan dari industri,
Betul.
terus ke juga ada yang bisa disampaikan kepada Pak Bambang keuntungan apa dan apa sehingga Pak Bambang bisa selesai. Dan menurut saya Pak Bambang merupakan perusahaan yang terbaik bisa apa namanya memberikan.
Saya cuma ingin tahu dari dunia industri menjadi lebih seperti apa gitu. Mungkin keuntungannya apa gitu ya, harapan bisa membuat kita belajar lebih banyak tentang pengalaman yang baik tadi yang disampaikan oleh Pak Bambang.
Terima kasih Pak Yudi. Sebenarnya keuntungannya waktu itu kepikirannya adalah kalau kenapa saya bergabung ada udah 13,5 tahun gitu ya, dan saya mencoba untuk di zona nyaman dan pendidik gitu ya. Tapi ternyata banyak keuntungannya buat akademis karena satu kita punya networking yang bagus gitu ya. Kemudian kita sering mengundang profesional gitu ya untuk datang ke kita, dan kita juga membawa student ke sana, dan kebanyakan kita selalu pakai study case gitu ya Pak. Jadi untuk sebuah topik biasanya saya akan bikin study case yang real. Misalnya contoh gimana ketika kelas TV bertransformasi ke digital, gitu ya, hambatannya apa aja, kemudian dari sisi teknologi apa, dan kita mengundang juga orang-orang yang pernah berada di sana untuk datang ke. Nah sebenarnya kan kalau di menurut saya match-nya, link and match-nya kan masih ada gap Pak ya, gitu ya. Nah gapnya itu yang kita mencoba untuk dekatkan dengan assignment yang benar relevan tadi Pak, gitu. Jadi ketika mahasiswa kami apply pekerjaan atau mereka menjual dirinya dan skillsnya, kita ajarin gimana caranya bangun portofolio yang benar, gimana ketika menghadapi klien atau gimana menghadapi interviewer, karena saya sebagai recruiter juga gitu waktu itu. Nah, kayak misalnya next month kita mengundang art directornya waktu G20 kemarin. Itu kan kompleks banget ya. Kebetulan saya udah kontak dan itu juga teman saya di kampus di ITB dan juga teman saya waktu di Trans TV. Dia udah cerita tuh, Mas Tombak, Bu, saya punya banyak study case nih. Gimana waktu G20 yang malam gala dinner yang megah itu, dia sebagai art directornya, dan itu akan datang di next month. Nah, saya berharap dengan itu dia datang, karena G20 itu kan kompleks dan internasional ya. Saya dengerin ceritanya sampai wah gila ya gitu, terjadi sampai segitu banyaknya, sampai Pak Jokowi itu detik-detik terakhir 2 jam 3 jam itu minta revisi gitu. Dan itu kebanyakan student nggak tahu, karena kita tahu cuma nonton tuh bagus gitu ya. Sebenarnya proses behind itu mereka butuh waktu 1 tahun untuk mempersiapkan. Nah, keuntungannya itu Pak Yudi, jadi kita punya networking yang bagus. Seperti contoh, nanti di karena kita ada kelas portfolio preparation, itu beneran yang ngajar bukan dari kami, tapi saya hire part time yang memang dia recruiter. Dan sebenarnya Mas Erwin yang ngajar drawing, dia kan sebenarnya dia sekarang senior manager look and feel di Transmedia. Jadi dia nge-recruit semua desainer tuh untuk semua ini bisnisnya CETL. Nah dia yang bakal ngisi Pak, saya minta khusus ke beliau, ngisi dong, kan lu lebih tahu sekarang apa sih diperlukan di industri, portofolio seperti apa. Nah, jadi salah satu keuntungannya adalah networking dan juga study case. Jadi sudah juga prepare dengan oke, ini loh realitasnya tidak seindah yang kita bicarakan. Mungkin Pak Arif mau lanjut ya? Terima kasih Pak.
Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih kesempatannya, kaget juga waktu ini waktu diajak untuk sharing, saya mau sharing apa, saya bingung. Mungkin ini sharingnya lebih ke cerita bukan nothing serious gitu, nothing serious. Saya pilih topik ini dan saya bilang Pak Romo, ini kayaknya lebih relevan gitu untuk VCD gitu, karena this is what we do gitu. Kita harus selalu adapt dengan generasi baru gitu, how can we keep up gitu, karena kreatif industri itu sangat dinamis ya, the pace is different, sometime next week something else changes gitu. Nah kita harus keep up dengan itu. Nah gimana caranya? It's very frustrating karena we've gone through this process. To me, over 20 years ago, I've been in their position. So 20 years later, it's a entirely different process gitu. Nah dan di perjalanan saya menjadi tenaga pengajar itu inilah ceritanya yang saya share. Pertama, there's gonna be a lot of memes if Bapak and Ibu know and have seen in social media in my presentation. Jadi cerita saya berawal dari saya ini pelaku industri juga, Bapak Ibu sekalian. Sebelumnya, I've been in industry for 10 years. Never crossed my mind that I would stand in front of young generation and then share my experience. Never. That's why the meme is like, so you tell me there's a chance. Even the chance is smaller than a grain of rice. Gitu ya. Tapi pada saat itu saya sedang mengerjakan proyek, kebetulan di telepon oleh salah satu kampus. Ya bisa aja, nggak bisa. Saya nggak bisa soalnya. Udah datang lagi interview dulu, akhirnya saya datang. Dan pada saat itu saya masuk ke ruang meetingnya, lalu managing director perkenalan diri ya. I'm Jeff, I'm the managing director, and this is Mark, head of audio engineer. For your information, Bapak and Ibu, I was teaching electronic music production first. That was not my field at all in my academic. And then after that, Jack was introducing another one. This is Ari. Ari is the film production, head of film production. Okay. So he was asking, we would like you to teach. I have no experience in teaching. I've forgotten all the theory about design or about music that I've been taught for many years ago gitu ya. Jadi don't worry, we will help you. No help was happening. Jadi I have to learn myself. Jadi benar-benar dicemplungin banget Bapak Ibu. Jadi nggak ada nih yang kayak SW gini kayak ada pelatihan ini, ada pelatihan itu, ini silabus segala macam gitu, nggak ada. Jadi benar-benar dicemplungin. Ya ini silabusnya, ikutin aja. Kalau misalnya mau dirubah, silahkan dirubah. Pokoknya harus lebih relevan dengan industri yang kamu ini gitu. Jadi akhirnya saya mengajar untuk 2 mata kuliah, itu electronic music production untuk D3. Saat itu saya masih S1, dan satu lagi film production ini yang di luar pembicaraan di telepon itu saya disuruh mengajar motion graphic, and that is actually my field of work. Nah setelah itu saya ngajar. I was Googling on how to be a lecturer. What to do? No clue. I have no clue how to be a lecturer. Gitu. Jadi makanya nothing is actually making sense to me. Jadi I teach about theory, design principles, the animation principles gitu, dan the rule of lights gitu kan, kalau misalnya di dunia animasi itu dan segala macam itu, color theory dan seterusnya gitu. Jadi saya bilang ya ini teorinya gitu. Terus udah gitu mahasiswa tuh nanya gitu, yes I understand, tapi kenapa kita belajar ini gitu. Saya bilang ya ini perlu untuk kalian diingat terus gitu, sampai kalian nggak harus mengingat. Ini ada sesuatu yang habitual gitu ya. Jadi emang secara otonomus sudah dia lakukan seluruh teori dan prinsip ini gitu. Nah tapi tetap mereka menanyakan masalahnya ini nggak apply teori-teori ini nggak di kerjaan? Ya iya dan enggak sih gitu kan. Jadi makanya saya bilang tadi Pak Kemal juga bilang ini should be relevant gitu ya. Jadi saya tetap gitu yang ini teorinya ada gitu. Tapi what really happens is gitu. Saya akhirnya cerita, and this is actually one of my project ini teman-teman, ini motion graphic harusnya ada di YouTube, di di search saja. Jadi ini project untuk Hi-Fi, one of I guess best as the greatest Indonesian band today. Jadi kalau motion graphic saya tunjukin lah, ya hanya ini aja sih sebenarnya. Semua karya saya tunjukin ke mahasiswa gitu. Jadi jadi begini. Nah dari situ, nah ini ceritanya gimana mas? Oh jadi prosesnya begini, begitu dan seterusnya gitu ya. Jadi saya ceritain aja prosesnya dari awal saya dapat proyek ini, goals dari proyek ini apaan, ketemu klien, how to communicate with them, gimana akhirnya your ideas bukan idenya mereka gitu ya kan. Biasanya kalau desain itu klien itu suka banyak gitu ya, banyak keinginannya gitu. Jadi kita kadang-kadang cuma iya aja, tapi saya ajarkan mereka untuk how to communicate, gimana kita justify yang win buat kita dan win buat mereka gitu. Nah akhirnya ini kalimat yang sering diucapkan oleh mahasiswa until they even as students. Oh yes sir, that makes sense gitu. Jadi kita harus mengajarkan, saya mengambil kesimpulan bahwa oh ya kita harus mengajarkan memang hal-hal yang sudah textbook, tapi it needs to be relevant juga gitu, for them to actually make sense. Kenapa mereka harus mengambil mata kuliah ini, kenapa mereka harus belajar ini di dalam mata kuliah ini gitu. Akhirnya saya mencoba untuk menyaring gitu ya, all that information about the theory and which one that I feel like is applicable in the industry even today. So I started to tell my story. It feels great that they are listening to the story, even though I told them that this is actually a small project, and a small project is small money, and that you need to, even though they are still your clients, you need to be of service best as you can, gitu ya. Jadi ini makanya saya tuh my story in my head and yeah, story. It's a Firefox game when you can connect to the internet. So yeah, that's basically it. And I further studied that what I've applied to the class is actually a project-based learning. So they are I feel like I couldn't find a way to actually judge their work if they are not working on the project and they discovered themselves the problems. Because I don't think we need to identify to them. They should realize, with all the knowledge that we've shared with them, they should have realized the problems that they encountered and how they find the solution. Gitu ya. Karena di information era, information is abundance. Yeah, they can find information on Google. Most of my presentation, before I present to them, I Googled them first. Yeah, and make sure in class I told them, okay, what is the meaning of this? Google it. And then they will Google it, and then they will understand. Because that's their world, Googling things. Gitu. Jadi saya mencoba untuk menjadi mereka di posisi mereka gitu. Dan dari Googling itu pun sebenarnya bukannya saya jadi belajar, tapi saya jadi melihat beberapa point of view gitu ya, orang-orang menerjemahkan sesuatu gitu. Dan itu saya jadi belajar juga gitu. Oh ternyata the definition and the objective is changes, gitu ya, change gitu. And it's also knowledge for me. Nah itu dimana kita bisa selalu relevan terhadap knowledge yang terkini. Gitu. Di sini project-based learning, of course, I'm pretty sure Bapak Ibu already understood this. Going to the next one. So this is one of the applicable tasks that we applied for our internship course. So this is working for At America, as you already know as well. We're working very closely with At America, and Blue Wellness specifically asked us to, can we add some more colors to At America? And then the students were saying that, what kind of colors are we need to begin? That's why we need some information. So we're asking for slides. We're asking for some brand book. We're asking for everything. We talk with Learn quite consistently, trying to dig information because it's the same thing. Design is still relevant with any of the field. We're still trying to dig information, but the way we develop the information is different. We develop visually, and probably in business, it's we develop in economic way, right, and in the engineering way, and design is in that situation as well. So in here it's it's really funny that when they present it to a real client, they get really nervous. They don't even know how to plug HDMI to a TV. It's so weird for a really technological generation because they're so nervous at the time, but they adapt. They quickly adapt to the situation and they take over the stage. That's what is really fascinating about the new generation. They quickly adapt to problems. So it's really good to witness that. So in here, how do we teach? This is the learning styles here. We have many learning styles, but these are some of the learning styles that I constantly practice at class. So, of course, visual communication design, we use visual and auditory experiences as well. We use music to accentuate some of the visual meanings, and then also kinesthetic. So they like us to actually teach them how this software works. Yeah, it's not just like, oh, easy, use After Effects. How does this work? Right? Just look at the documentation. That's not how I do teaching kinesthetic. So I feel like this is the documentation was saying, and this is how I do it in real project, right? And consistently in design, it's still the case. Time is money. So I'm teaching the fastest way and the best way to get results. Therefore, design. And Pak Farid actually experienced this. Pak bisa berubah backgroundnya dan foto. And then 2 minutes later, I said, so, oh, that was quick. I owe you a coffee break. I was like, well, that's my job, right? So I taught them that speed, and I constantly reminding them, when you graduate, you have no time no more. You have to compete with other students from other university, and it costs a lot of money. So time is money. And with this learning styles, I divided into several chunks. So small visuals, small auditory, more kinesthetic, and mostly solitary. So this is actually visualized. You can see this in my canvas. You can see this. So I have like 8 weeks of hands-on lecture, workshops, discussions, and all that guided learning. And then from 9 to 16, I let them go independent studies. Basically, I want them to work independently, and then if they discover in themselves, I need to improve myself in this area, they can introspective. They can be introspective. Yeah, and then they have to manage their production timeline, constantly reminded to them to finish this by the deadline. Yeah, so strong self-management skills and analysis is very important in this solitary important output. And then lastly, identify strengths and weakness. So they know if this kind of project, for example, if I give the motion graphics project and they feel like, oh, this is not my strong suit, so I'll probably go with 3D. So they can decide which area of design they want to sharpen, and they want to be advanced on. So these are basically it. And this is an example of, actually, the student is, yes, here, Stephanie Leverta-Manik. She's not VCD student, she is math education student, but took applause for Stephanie. After seeing this, you will be amazed by the result. This is, I'm going to make a title for this video. So interactive learning using machine learning post-classification microarray coding project. Bisa?
Ini extended display. Ini udah play kok.
And the third one is the float, where the quiz do the predictions. Okay, now let me show you how this works. Here are the links of the code that I've made. And here are the files that I've uploaded in order to make this quiz work. So post classification enable the machine to detect human poses and predict the poses into the output that I wanted. What I wanted here is when I give a pose, the screen will show the geometric shapes: triangle, circle, and rectangle. When I pose like this, it will show you a rectangle. When I pose like this, it will show you a circle. When I pose like this, it will show you a triangle. You can repeat all the poses and the output will show you the same thing. In here, the position of my skeleton is the input and the geometrical shapes is the output. So as you can see, the output or the geometrical shape shows on the screen partially follow the input or the poses or the position of my skeleton. So this is gonna be useful when we would like to introduce the geometrical shapes, especially the interactive learning possibly increase the students' engagement. I think that's all. Thank you.
She wasn't actually know what she was trying to do, but she went to this museum and then looking at some augmented reality installation, and then started wanting to do this. But then a week later, she was saying, I want to teach students using machine learning. I can guide you, but let's do this. And then this is hopefully in the teacher research collaboration with her. It's really cool. I'm really inspired by it. Yeah, so again, knowledge creation, we create knowledge for me as well as to the students. All right, and this is just, I gave this Slido question to my students. I was expecting getting feedback, but
what I'm getting, personality. These are the personality of the students.
Yeah.
So they just type in some feedback, but then, oh, you can use emojis, and then cancel again, and then use a lot of emojis, and then all this Korean that I don't understand. Apparently, this is data or something. So yeah, these are our students' personality in Slido. All right, I think that's it for me. Rachel, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And good luck to your professor, please.
Okay, thank you. That's all for PCB. And thank you for participating. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Tom, Pak Arya, for a very wonderful sharing session. Yeah. Okay, like this. Okay, Bapak Ibu, we will continue to the next session. Yeah. So for the session 2, we will have Faculty of Business representative. Pak Nanda and also Pak Chris and Ibu Putri. The time is yours.
Pemain basis, salah gitu memang.
Pemain basis. Ada dasarnya apa nih?
Sampai komen menyejukkan dikasih AC gitu.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Bufera, good morning. Is it going to be Argentina or France? Next session is us, Faculty of Business. First of all, applause untuk Ibu Eci. Thank you, Ibu Eci. Myself, Christian, and then next will be Ibu Tri, and then Pak Manawan. Professor Paris. Yeah, I was thinking kalau kita aja when I teach, we give assignments, final projects. Ini akan stay in our laptops atau we're going to let everybody read our work and ini ada beberapa slide. Jadi ya publish or perish. Ya basically pengertian saya kalau bisa semuanya dipublish, not just research papers tapi assignments juga. And ada 3 pertanyaan sih. Jadi 3 parts: lecturers, our campus, and also our students. Ini benefitnya apa ya? So let me ask some of us here. Mungkin anybody, first question, benefits the lecturers get by publishing an article? Anyone? Maybe yeah, Pak Farid.
Insentif.
Number two, do you think the benefits for our campus get by publishing an article by one?
University ranking.
Siap sih S bacanya.
Mungkin yang ketiga ya.
By what?
It's
Kayak udah latihan.
For our students. Yang ketiga.
If they want to study and do some research or develop their critical
Okay.
thinking.
The critical thinking, and also I think one of the most important things that when they want to continue the study, they can put the work in the CV so that the future schools can see and then can consider kalau ada beberapa saingan, okay, this one udah punya research paper. So thank you everyone for participating. And, ada beberapa cara sih, you don't have to submit to a journal. Misalnya when I teach basic operations management, we have weekly discussions, weekly topics. As simple as this, jadi other than assignments and quizzes, every week kita ada like maybe one sentence of questions. Artificial intelligence is going to be scary for you, or is it exciting? Coba jelasin in like one piece of paper, 4 aja gitu ya, maybe a few hundred words. Dan kenapa? State your reasons. Tiap minggu topiknya beda-beda. Kita juga bisa kirim, misalnya ke Kompasiana atau ke CNBC, mereka punya opinion. Ada opinion yang bukan dari editornya tapi from the readers, and also dalam bahasa Inggris juga ya, also Jakarta Globe. There's so many medias that use English language as the. And then for this topic, ternyata ada saya minta mereka kalau kirim itu dapat extra credit ya, suppose, dan ada salah satu mahasiswa kita yang kirim juga, dan ini sama editornya diedit ya. Dan it took about maybe 2-3 days before ada muncul di their website. Jadi ini kiriman dari one of our students. The writer is a final year student, Sampoerna University, Jakarta, and and then I also teach research methods for business. This is sebenarnya semester ini ya, this is my first time teaching research methods for business, and I know from previous lecturers, previous semesters, mereka yang ngajar ini ternyata cuma sampai bab 3 aja, methodology. So introduction, research review, methodology, and that's it. Tapi again, publish or perish, daripada kesimpan di laptop, let's go down to publishing the work. Langsung aja sampai bab 5, result discussion and then conclusion. Here, yeah. So I designed this tahapannya gimana ya? From research topic 5%, terus sampai introduction, research review, all 5%, survey draft, dan data analysis, presentation tentunya, dan dalam group, dalam teams, and then yang terakhir final research report 30%. Terus saya bantuin mereka. Timnya ada 17. 17 teams means 17 titles, 17 research papers. Saya bantu mereka cari tentunya kalau bisa yang nggak ada bayaran. Jadi ya kalau bisa yang Sinta dan nggak ada bayaran, kredit. And caranya di Sinta ada ini ya, website Sinta ya, ada journals dan affiliations dan sebagainya. Oh iya. Ya ketahuan deh saya dengan
Udah ngantuk.
Bete gitu dia.
Oh ini. Ya. Ya. Jadi gimana? Jadi saya cari designated journal. So 17 topics, different topics. So got to be different journals juga. Yeah. And then saya masukin cari template-nya for each of the journals. And then lihat sampelnya seperti apa sih bentuknya. Yeah. And then out of the 17 papers, ini baru like less than 3 weeks ago udah disubmit. Tetap aja sih ada satu tim juga yang menyebalkan nggak submit gitu loh. Jadi out of 16 submitted, 2 udah accepted, 1 review. So
can I ask you a question now because I will have to go downstairs in 10 minutes. I mean, this is so amazing. You're so great. I'm so inspired, but I don't know. Now my question is, how do you help your students write? I have a huge headache with that. How?
Because they took your class already.
I was going to say that.
That's not what I mean. No, seriously, it's a big headache. Most of the students do not know how to write in a formal style. They just write something like, it is huge, it is, it's a catchy thing, something like that, things that they use in daily conversation. Aduh, gitu. I've been telling them, is this an essay, an academic writing? You have to be formal. Don't use those daily spoken words. They keep doing that.
Bu Vera,
Oh,
send your student to design class.
Saya biasanya kalau ada any interesting article saya bisa save dan foldernya kayak gitu. Misalnya from chapter 1 to chapter 5. Ini saya pakai untuk ngajar juga. So, for instance, for introduction, saya save di sini. Nah ini semua paper yang saya save, saya share juga ke students. Ini menurut saya paper-paper ini yang interesting adalah bagian introduction-nya aja. Jadi itu yang saya share ke mereka. Every week di kampus itu papers, articles banyak. Jadi at the beginning of the semester, I said to them, it's going to take a lot of readings di kelas ini gitu. Jadi balik lagi ke yang tadi, bagian-bagian yang ini. Jadi ada bagian view-nya, literature review, survey draft, itu semuanya ada contohnya yang saya kasih. Dari 17 ada cuma 16 yang submit sih, so I'm gonna kill that one team for that.
let me help you kill that.
Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you so much. Next.
Lagi dari Mayola.
Cepet makan kasih cepet kamu.
Dia main bassnya terus. Pemain basis.
Salah gitu pemain basis.
Publish or perish.
Pegang loh.
Kelasnya.
Produk akhirnya dapat proposal apa?
Jadi mereka survei.
Itu ya kemarin.
Just right. 10 pages. 8 to 10 pages. Iya, beda lagi. Mereka boleh pakai itu. Aplikasi satu variabel.
Kamu udah ada boleh nggak kegiatan di
Dong bukan ini. Bukan ini serius. Aku tahu center itu yang beda sama Pak Eka itu yang
Emosi.
Bahasa lainnya udah terima. Jadi udah terima bersih. Yang sisa Ibu Vera.
Dia lanjut ke
Pedagogies nih.
Bu, semester berapa ngambil apa sih? Semester sebelumnya ngambil kelas Bu Vera.
Iya.
Jadi jangan kasih kendor Bu ya. Karena harus menikmati.
Kalau gitu insentifnya kasih Bu Vera.
Di sini keluar asap terus kepalanya.
Ntar lama-lama ada begininya Pak.
Kita teman-teman terdekatnya nih kena ibas nih.
Terima kasih sekali. Baru pertama kali saya berdiri di sini.
Dari mulai kali.
Apa rasanya, Bu?
Panas.
Iya.
Bu, rasanya 10 menit harus ke bawah bukan? Gitu aja.
Ya, betul baru pertama kali saya berbicara di hadapan Bapak dan Ibu pengajar semua. Jadi saya new Pak Chris ya tadi is talking about the research method subject. I talked with Pak Chris as well. You know, classes in business research. So one of the class saya belajar di sana. Kita pakai kolaborasi yang sangat tepat. Kalau Pak Chris ada 17 di kelas saya, kebetulan hari ini ada 7. Yeah, in business research we focus on quantitative study. So all of the research we are doing quantitative to using smart PLS as well as SPSS for the data analysis. And now I'm moving to my class. I'm using case study analysis. So in this case, this is also one of the approach of research. And this one is qualitative. So before there is a quantitative case study. Yeah, so I use also case study for the students project. And they need to develop and analyze case study as the final assignment. Right. So because you discuss about the background why I'm using case study and then talking about the process, yeah, developing and analysis, and the example. So the background, yeah, why case study? Yeah, because we are in business. Yeah. So case study is a research process aimed at learning about the subject, an event, organization, or an organization. And then case studies are used in business, other social sciences, and also healthcare. And the case study is focused on one observation or many, and it can also examine a series of events or a single case. Yeah. Effective case study tells a story and provides a conclusion. So, yeah, basically, the students this study. Why? Because again, I'm teaching business subject. I have two classes of business subject in marketing. One is introduction to marketing, and the other one is integrated marketing communication. Three classes actually. And then in the subject, we discuss a lot of concepts, strategies, various strategies, as well as tactics. And then at the end, student needs to know its strategies as well as the tactics and the characteristics. And then have to know how the strategies as well as the tactics implemented by the So that's why we need case study. I give you, this is the topic that we have to discuss for integrated marketing communication classes. We have concept of brand management, buyer behaviors, the planning of integrated marketing communication, learning about advertising, the media, digital as well as the conventional media, as well as the ethics, and how to evaluate the IRC. And in marketing strategy, we have to learn about the environment of the business, and then know the strategy of marketing as well as the marketing mix. What's the benefit? Okay. At least, for the students, at the end, they have to know what they have learned, what they have learned so far. Because too many issues they have to understand, and then they need to know how each of the strategy implemented by the companies. And then for the lecturers, I think it's the same, just like other business. This will enrich our knowledge, and also the case study regarding the aspect of the lecturer. If examples, contoh, ada waktu mengajar, jadi makin luas juga dan implementasinya saja. Karena ini kita ambil dari kasus yang real, yang live, yang terbaru, tentu akan menjadi lebih relevan pada waktu mengajar. Tentu saja untuk institusi, untuk sekolah, untuk universitas. This is the process. So first, the students need to be determined to the subject of the case. For example, untuk ISC, saya tentukan mereka harus menentukan apa mereknya, brand, and you choose the brand. They will type to discuss, and then I will give the guidance about the focus of the analysis based on the subjects in every week. Jadi prosesnya lumayan lama ya. Jadi biasanya sih setelah ujian tengah ya, after the midterm examination. So probably around 6 weeks to develop the case. And then after that, each week the students have to give their paper, itu step by step, tergantung dari apa yang harus kita bahas gitu ya. Mengumpulkan data, and then we have to analyze also, and then integrate the data into the analysis. Tentunya ini tidak dimulai langsung bahwa mereka membuat kasus yang besar, misalnya seperti ini, langsung bisa menjadi kasus yang besar. Itu mulai dari sedikit sedikit, step by step. In the first half of the semester, I did a small case. Misalnya ini contohnya seperti ini, salah satu yang didiskusikan di dalam minggu. For example, here
ditanya kapten saya ada di kamar.
Oh iya, di belakang. Sholat subuh di sini. Gimana?
Sholat subuh di sini udah dibuka belum Pak? Belum dinyalain.
Nenek pernah cerita. Tak papa paling jauh cuma pergi ke sekolah.
Sebelah yang mana? Negeri seberang.
Itu bapakku, namanya Pak Muta, teman-temannya semuanya mau nonton, soalnya papa jarang gitu. Menu wajib papa itu nasi, ayam, telur, tiap hari nggak pernah ganti.
Habis ada di menu ya. Kalau ini.
Nenek pernah cerita, papa paling jauh cuma pergi ke sekolah. Setiap tahun, papa ngajak aku liburan ke puncak, lagi. Sampai suatu hari tuh, aku pergi mancing di danau. Aku makan pizza yang gede banget. Kamu mau kemana kan? Aku pergi terus kok. Sabtu kemarin aku bikin setengah pasir di pantai. Aku pergi ke waterpark. Terus pergi snorkeling sama main trampolin. Aku pergi terus kok.
Butuh inspirasi weekend? Scroll aplikasi Traveloka.
Papa jadi sadar.
Perlu panjang banget.
Papa
Jangan ya.
Bagus juga sih Mas.
sampai kulineran. Aku jadi punya banyak pengalaman.
Momen seru kemudian.
Gede banget deh.
Udah ngomong buka udah pakai barang ada. Pak Risma dari tadi sudah ada kopi udah diatur lagi jam 11-an.
Ya, thank you. Mudah-mudahan aku dan kita Right. So that one is a small case study. The students get to apply the concept and then learn to analyze the real case. But then for the final side, they need to make a case study. Example dia, saya ini misalnya satu perusahaan yang dibuat in phase 3, and then I think we students focus on KitKat. Yeah, so she's looking at the here is koleksi untuk apakah yang disajikan di kelas sebagai contoh, juga untuk bahan-bahan nantinya diolah menjadi bahan ujian atau apa seperti itu. So that's all. Now
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Pak Rektor, Pak Pri, Bapak Ibu sekalian, thank you for this opportunity with UAG also. So I will continue this FOB presentation. So the topic is about the best practice on examination condition. So I already confirmed with Pak Ibu UAG. They said like, is it possible that outside pedagogy is fine? So that's why I want to discuss about this. And why I want to discuss about this, secondly, because firstly, had a big, quite a significant experience in becoming vigilator, because this is one of my many part-time jobs when I was obtaining my PhD degree. So I was doing this. And secondly, once I see what is our condition here, I realize, yeah, there's still gap, right? Maybe we can improve that in the future, right? So yeah, that's the motivation why I want to discuss about this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what actually examination? So examination is one of the student assessment. We know about this, and most of universities still use this. Even UA still use this, right? So they relying on this examination, whether to test the student understanding, to want to check whether the learning outcome can be achieved or not. So most universities still use this, but in recent article that I checked, apparently we should avoid this. But yeah, as university, we should really look this very carefully. Now the second one is achievement examination represent for many university. Again, this is the end product of education process, right? So this is quite important when we want to know whether again the learning outcome can achieve or not. And lastly, we should do this properly because we want to make sure that the exam is a true reflection of candidate. That's why we need to properly address this. And I forgot about this control condition, meaning that there should be arrangement, certain arrangement, either maybe the time, the duration, the script book, the seating, everything must be arranged. But one thing for sure, that this must be done for the benefit of the students, not for us. Now, the next slide, there will be a series of questions. Maybe you just participate on this. We want to make sure whether we have the same perspective on this or not. Now, this is what happens. The examination date is determined directly the lecturer with approval of dean or HOD. So do you agree or disagree with this? The practice here is this done by the lecturer. They decide when is the time, when is the duration and everything, right? Now, the best practice, apparently, the dead examination, that should be centralized, right? Because Bunovi is here, Bunovi here, but it should be something that useful for you later, right? They should be centralized. So we cannot just determine next week exam, mid-exam, final exam, it's not something that you want to do. Because students, sometimes, some students, they think that they can have the exam and the class and then the lab in the same day. It's not possible to have that, right? So that's not really a good practice, right? So that cannot be done, right? The next one is the lecture determine the exam duration according to the class meeting duration. Now this is quite unique for us because for 3 credits we have 75 minutes each session, right? Now usually we use that as the mid-exam or the final exam. Now, do you agree or disagree with this? I think this is our practice here, right? Now the best practice apparently we should give the student around, depend on the course credit, right? So if you have like 3 credits, meaning that the student have right, this is important point, right? Hak mereka, right? To have at least 2.5 hours, at least 2.5 hours, right? Not 75 minutes. Now my strategy probably, just sharing, my strategy probably split 75 minutes in the class, and then afterwards that should be the take-home exam, which is they can do that for the rest of the day, right? That's my strategy. So this is also part of the regulation, right? So 2.5 hours, that's the right. So if you cut their right here, it's something that we want to do, yeah. The next one is students are not allowed to have access to previous exam papers. Anyone do this? Do you share your previous exam paper to your students? Yes. And no, I don't think so. I haven't seen it, right? So and even some of us forbid from sharing this, right? We don't share this because we believe that students should learn from the material that they receive in the class or outside the class. But in good best practice, apparently, if you look at some UK university, they should have access to previous exam papers, right? So maybe later this can be take into consideration when we design the examination thing, right? The next one is about the invigilators. Now this is what I do. So we don't really have do some training here. And if I'm not mistaken, we haven't done any training about invigilators thing. So this is quite important. The roles of invigilator here, you can see here. The exam should be in a fair and appropriate manner. Now, fair and appropriate manner, it can be quite broad. And then prevent and report suspected malpractice. Now, I would like to discuss this in the next slide. And the next one is prevent administrative error. Now, I know that we kind of like really not big one, but again, if some paper missing, that's become problematic. That's why we really need to train this invigilator. I think every time we have the exam, mid or final exam, we have this some kind of like workshop, like training to refresh everything. Now this is the malpractice that we that occurs in malpractice is any action that breaks regulation. Yes. Now I would like to draw your attention to this. Malpractice can be intentional, of course, and that can also caused by through carelessness, forgetfulness, and ignorance of the regulation. So sometimes they don't know. Is there any regulation about this? Whether they can, what do you call it, take their mobile with them? They don't know yet. Now that's why the regulation must always be read, right, before the exam begins. Now we don't have this, the proper regulation in our what do you call it, maybe our standard, something like that. Now, the next one is, I got a student, let's check this. I got a student cheating during the exam. Consequently, I took this exam paper, and removed him from the venue. Is this something that you do? What are you gonna do if you caught someone cheating?
Report to the Committee of Ethics.
Say it again?
Report to the Committee of Ethics.
Yeah, and then yeah, report the committee ethics. Do you remove him from the exam venue?
No, just take notes.
Just take notes. Yes, you know exactly, right? So what you're gonna do is you just take note, right? Just take note. There will be a separate paper, right? There is a separate paper, official paper, and you see the notes if you see the notes, right? But you cannot kick him out the classroom, no, because again, this is the right to do the exam, right? So this is the example like this, but we don't have this regulation yet, but there's something that we need to think in the future, right? So again, this is quite important, right? The next one is about special circumstance here. So I will just want to check again, in order to uphold the aspect of fairness in exam, late students should get extra time. You think should we do that?
No.
No. Right? Okay, we agree with this. Right? So there will be no extra time. Right? Now student will not get extra time. In fact, if they late 1 hour, should not allowed to enter the room. Right? Should not allowed to enter the room. Right? The next one is, now this is also special circumstances here again. In order to uphold the aspect of fairness in exam, students with disability, medical condition, or mental health condition should be treated the same with other students during the exam. What do you think? Is it fair to treat them same with other students? No? Yeah? So yes, there should be no. Right? We should separate them from other students, our normal student, let's say like that, normal student. Take him to different room, right? And usually they should be allowed finish this as much as possible, right? So there is no duration. So that's the idea of this special circumstances. Now usually special circumstances only related to illness, bereavement, and temporary injury. So that's something that we need to consider. Now again, sometimes students will be tricky here. Now, if they want to need special consideration this, then you should apply to the dean or to the maybe to what head of academic registry or something like that. Yeah. Now, almost finished. Now let's look at our exam paper here. Now this is our exam paper. I just scanned it. SU answer sheet or our script book has met the standard. Do you agree or not with this? Alright? Are you happy with this or not? Okay? With this exam paper. Now the thing is, one problem with our exam paper is we should promote, what do you call it, anonymity. This student number that should be not here, right? So I take from my alma mater from University of Glasgow. You see the difference here. There's no name here. What they have is only the student number. Yes, right. So this is important because you know exactly your student, who's active, who really quite annoying. Right? Ask everything, right? So we want this exam purely on this paper only, not the other aspect outside the exam, right? So this student name maybe we should let's say improve that letter, right? Now what happened is they can put their name here, but they should fold it, right? Fold it. Right, so there is a surname and given name, but they fold over and stick down. Right, so they will try to open this once they finish all the grading. Right, so that will create what we call it free of bias, say like that, free of bias. Yeah. Now, I think that's all. So the conclusion is probably again I see gap in our examination condition at SU, and I think the conclusion that we can do is probably centralize the exam schedule. Exam duration should be greater duration of class meeting, And then this also we need to able to publish our previous exam paper, and we also need to put some appropriate adjustment for the student, and lastly anonymity of our exam paper. Alright, Bapak Ibu, thank you very much. I hope there's not too much, but I hope we can improve our exam condition here at SU. Thank you very much.
Pak Nanda, Putri, and Pak Kris, okay, Bapak Ibu, so it is time for the coffee break. Yeah, so we have prepared coffee, tea, and also dim sum platter. Just to let you know that please be back to this room, yeah, in 15 minutes, yeah, in 15 minutes, because we still have session 3 and session 4, yeah, from the Faculty of Education and Faculty of Arts and Science. Yeah. Enjoy the refreshment, Bapak Ibu, silahkan.
But what we're going to do is we're not going to like present things to you, but we will engage you to ask by asking you questions. Playing games, and you will do some things with us today. So the topic is practice to foster lifelong learning. So it's basically our course. Although it's a micro-teaching course, Ibu Susi and I both believe that teaching is more than about technicalities. So micro-teaching is not just about the teaching method, but it's about what we believe, our philosophy, and being a reflective teacher. So that was our goal for this semester. Okay, next. Ini asalnya. Oh, ada pointer. Bukan maaf ya. Okay, so Ibu Susi, what will we do first? Okay. Okay, so we will do round robin. So each and one of you, please think of a word, yeah, that represents teaching to you. So I will start from top 3. Educate.
Important.
Creativity.
Learning. Transfer of knowledge.
Meaningful.
Make sense.
Fun.
Transform. Facility.
Inspire.
Writing.
Teaching? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yay!
You can see that the word that comes into your head when you hear the word teaching is actually different from one another. Why? Because although we teach the same things, basically what we believe about teaching might differ. Like Ibu Susi and I, we have different views of teaching. I'm very structured when teaching usually, with a very clear structure. Ibu Susi is the other way around. She would like try things and then talk about the structure. So it's very interesting when we collaborated. One of the things that we did first was actually share our own teaching philosophy. So Ibu Susi and I shared with the students the teaching philosophies, and we introduced our students to various teaching philosophies from Indonesia, Shafi'i, Hajar, and a lot of other thinkers. They explored by themselves and they created their own teaching philosophy. Okay, so next. Now the question, if anybody can answer, Ibu Susi will give some replies. So what do you think that we did during micro teaching? So please guess.
So from the word micro teaching, I think that's going to be easy for you to guess. Yeah, small class, like
Mini lessons.
mini lesson.
Practice.
Group. Okay.
Did you invite
Kids?
kids?
Okay.
Did you invite kids also?
Invite kids? Yeah.
Collaboration.
Reflection. Yes. Collaboration. Okay. So maybe if you look at the pictures on the screen, so this is something that we do, that we did in the micro teaching. They had yes, of course, collaborations. They tried to develop their lesson plan, unit plan, right? They come up with a unit plan first, because they have to collaborate, and then they have to, design their own lesson plan.
And it was small lessons, yes. It was a 20-minute lesson for each teacher candidate. So.
But again, before they, because this micro teaching is the final, we offer this course in the final year. So we think that they need to be ready for their teaching philosophy. If they don't have their teaching philosophy, they will kind of don't know what to do in the class. So they have to hold on their philosophy, teaching philosophy, and then if they believe in it, and then they will try to apply what they believe in. So that's what we do in micro teaching.
Any? Okay.
So there's a lot of things that we did during micro teaching. So the first one was actually we asked our students to develop their teaching philosophies, because we believe that when they teach, basically they're practicing their teaching philosophy. So that's the first thing that we did. But we did other things, because this semester we did an experiment of actually asking our students not just to teach like geometry for math students or teaching grammar for English, but we wanted our students to be able to integrate their subject knowledge with things outside of their field. So we created the theme for this semester, and the semester was actually integrating English or mathematics education with social and environmental issues. And what was quite unique, usually our students, based on our reflection, at the third year, our students are already able to create like lesson plans from certain curriculums. But we actually tried to say, what if you don't have a curriculum? What if you are allowed to create any type of lesson that you like? How would the learning sequence be like? How about if with other teachers you had to design your own topics? So what would it be like? And when the first time we shared those ideas, I saw the faces on my students. They were like, so we don't have a curriculum, miss? Their faces were like frightened. Some of my students' faces. Yes, Stephanie, yeah? I remember Stephanie's face. but we did it anyway. So that was one of the things that we did. And be able to integrate mathematics or English with topics outside of our things, we did a lot of things. We collaborated with other people. So we invited a friend from Sokola, Hakola Huba, who actually taught in Sumba Timur, using ethnography, and she shared her ideas of how she actually, how she actually valued local values. We invited our students to join a discussion, an FDD with PSEC, which is how to use culture as a learning process, project-based learning. And the discussion was in an FDD forum, and the discussion was then published in a journal in Germany. And then Susi did another different thing here. You talked about identity, yeah?
Yes. But beforehand, I think we're so lucky that we have our students here. So maybe we could invite like maybe, oh yeah, you just say something, but yeah, maybe we can have like a testimony from the students. Because I have a small video here, and like showing about him giving the testimony. I think that will be, real for us, right? If we just ask him to tell something. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much to Suti and Susi for teaching us in the micro teaching class, because like what Ms. Putih said before, we don't have any curriculum in develop lesson plan and structure the material that we want to carry out in our class. And we try the meeting in our class with integrating the other subjects in like from mathematics. We integrate like subject like geography and also like other subjects. It's not only about mathematics.
I remember that math students, they had a lesson, a very short lesson, 20-minute lesson about mass echo. Do you know what mass echo is? Echo water.
Water gallon.
Water gallon. And then, yeah, maybe you could.
What did you do like here?
The echo, mass echo. They call it mass echo.
Actually, mass echo topic is carried out by Ashila's group. Yeah, at the first time, we like do some observation for the world around us. It's includes includes environment. So Ashila found the mass echo problem.
So what's the problem with mass echo?
The problem is like, is it the same like when they pay for some water? Is it same with the money that they have to pay with the water that they got?
Yeah. So they have a concern. I mean, like, is it cheaper when we buy, mineral water from Alphamart or from Indomart instead of,
mass echo.
using mass echo?
And
So,
they created a graph,
Yes.
And they created a graph and they found the point where if you buy this much, then mass echo is actually higher cost. But if below that liters, it's actually cheaper, yeah. So they use linear functions to actually analyze the mass echo. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you, Andrea.
So basically what we did for the math students, they observed what happened in SU, out and around SU. They took very carefully. Math echo was actually Stephanie's idea. It was her idea. So they saw the issues that were around SU, and then the question was, how can mathematics help you in understanding those issues? Well, for the English students, it's more about identity, isn't it? So for English language students, they focus on, they have two teams. One focus on identity awareness and the other is about environmental awareness. In identity awareness, they try to build students' awareness of their SWOT analysis. I mean, what are their strengths, their weakness, their opportunities, and their threats. Having those, lessons, the topics, and then they try to to connect this on how to create CV, because they're going to graduate soon, right? And then they need to know how to make a cover letter. So that's how they do in environmental science. In the identity awareness. For the environmental science, they try to to make students aware that this environment, this world, does not belong to only them, for them, right? But they have to think about their future. So the interesting thing that they introduced the lesson was that they asked the students to look outside the window, and then they.
So we went to the back of the room.
Yes, and then
they took a look at the green areas around.
Yes, the teacher asked the students, what do you think about, our surroundings, greeneries? Do you like this? I mean, are you happy with our environment? And what would you do if you're not happy with that? Something like that. So we try to challenge them, move beyond their, core skills or grammar lesson. So that's what we do.
So maybe I would share a little bit of what Andre did. So Andre was the first, he taught the first lesson. So basically the English students taught the mathematics education students, and the mathematics education students taught the English students, and vice versa. So when the mathematics Asian students wanted to teach English, we really noticed that the English students, a lot of them didn't like mathematics. we really noticed that. And the English students, you know, they also realized that some of the mathematics students prefer to work with numbers rather than readings. Right? We love numbers, but readings a lot sometimes, yeah, okay. So we really try to think about how to engage, you know, students from other departments, and that was actually really interesting. So Andre worked very hard to actually teach the students how to use Google Maps to introduce the concept of circle. So what does 1 kilometer around Sampoerna University mean? What are the boundaries 1 kilometer around Sampoerna University? And you can use circle equations for that. And then after that, his peer, Indah, actually asked students to identify, you know, health facilities, social health facilities, educational facilities, and boarding houses in the boundary of 1 kilometer inside of the circle around Sampoerna. So they identified it and then used statistics to actually make graphs, about the educational, social facilities that we have around us. And here was our final project. They created like posters. Each teacher candidate created like a poster of what they find most interesting during the whole semester. So each student, each teacher candidate had different posters because these posters are very personal because to each of them, what matters differs. So each of the teacher candidates now have a teaching portfolio, and we will show you the next. Okay. We will show you just samples. Oh, kan ada videonya ya?
Finished with this, all the courses, we try to celebrate, with the completion of their project through micro teaching exhibition. So we did this last week. It's like a reading session.
So some of our students with the best works had to read their findings. And then, okay, so we will use this framework to practice. Okay. So this is the framework that we use for micro-teaching. So we use a framework called the TLRP framework, which is the Teaching and Learning Research Program framework. It's from UK. And this framework is actually with the same view that we believe in, that teaching is more than about technicality. So there are several components, and I will practice a little bit of what we did during the class. So basically, each and one of you, I don't know if you can read this. I'm going to read it maybe for you. Too small. Too small. I'm going to read some. So I'd like you to listen to that component and think about your own teaching. Did you incorporate that in your own teaching previously or not? So the first one is equips learners for life in the broadest sense. So it means that when you teach something, when you teach a topic, or when you teach a subject, it's more than the subject itself, it's preparing the students for life. So do you think that you did this or not? Yeah? Later share what you did. So just the second one is engage with valued forms of knowledge. So when you say you engage with valued forms of knowledge, it means that you question which one is the most essential thing. In your lesson, in your course, what is the most important thing? And focus on the most important things. So it's about big ideas, the main philosophies and things like that. Third one is recognize the importance of prior experiences and knowledge. Do you value your students' prior knowledge? Do you value where your students come from, their background, their cultural background? Do you value whatever they can do outside of the classroom or not, besides that? 4, requires the teacher to scaffold learning, which means you think of the small steps when you teach something. You think about the details of how to actually help your students aim some learning objectives. The 5th one is needs assessment to be congruent with learning, so you do need assessment, see what your students are. promote the active engagement of the learner, so it's not just you, it's the students as well. Foster individual and social processes and outcomes. So you're not just focusing on individual development, but you're focusing on the social context as well as social learning. And then recognizes significance of informal learning, which means that, you know, learning outside of the classroom is as important as learning outside of the classroom. Whatever they do outside of the classroom is valuable. And 9, depends on teacher learning, which means that when we teach something, we also have to, you know, to learn by ourselves. And the last one is demands consistent policy frameworks to support for teaching and learning as their primary focus. Yeah, whatever, you know, we have in the Sampoerna thing, our vision as the Sampoerna University, we're actually consistent with the whole thing. So, did any of those components resonate with you in some ways? Very much. Julie, can you share?
Yeah. For me, the 9 out of 10, I use it, I incorporate work with them. Although I think number 4 is not as much as, in terms of percentage, not as much as the other component. But yeah, because this is, I'm talking specifically for my speech class, because speech class, in my experience, they have to do either learning, have to do research outside, have to think outside the box, have to think outside in general, and so on.
Thank you, Julia.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Ibu Tika, how about you, Ibu Tika?
Okay, I think I use for number 1. It's about the collaborative. Is that right?
Number 1 is I put learners for life is broader.
Yeah, life is yeah. So we prepare some components. I mean, prepare some students to be for the future, right?
In life in broader.
Yeah, life in brighter. So we prepare on that, and then for number 5, is it critical thinking, right?
Assessment congruent. Number 5 is assessment to be congruent with learning.
Okay, so I use that as well. And I forgot the other one that was social life.
Foster both individual and social processes and outcomes.
Yeah, this one. So I also implement how students can be socialized with other students and solving some problem in order to implement in daily life.
Thank you, Butika.
So basically, what we did with the students was this. We gave our students this framework. We asked them to reflect on their past teaching experiences, because for the FOE students, they had like school experience programs where they went to schools each semester. So they reflect on their previous teaching. And then while they were teaching, they, during the school experiences program, they used this framework and they had to provide proof of whether or not they incorporated that, each of the components or not. And if they didn't, it's okay, they just need to explain why. Okay, so, okay, so we have, you know, how many students are in our class?
25.
We had 25 teacher candidates in our class. Each of them had a portfolio, and we have chosen just 2. So one is Rachel Andrea from English Education, and one is Aurelia Jessica Ferdiola. So please scan the QR code and take a look at their work, and I'd like to ask you what you think of it. Yeah, maybe not much, skimming just a little bit. Can anybody tell me what your thoughts are after seeing some of our students' portfolios? Yes?
Just put my thumbs up. Yeah, I think this is really good. 26 pages of portfolio.
Work.
Portfolio.
A lot of things.
A lot of things, but I think this is a best practice. I think to be pedagogies and inclusive. We have to be grade 8 with the horizon is the profession. If I put myself in the grade 8, teaching grade 8, I would probably because it's going to be
Thank you.
So our students, when they develop the portfolio, they ask, isn't it the art students who develop portfolios? No, you know, teachers have portfolios too. We can actually document our work, and you know when you apply as a teacher, you can use it to apply to the work.
Susie will share a little bit about one of our students' famous work there.
So, Ibu Budi and I was just asking them to develop e-portfolio. But then, you know, like students, they like to have creativity, right? They want to go beyond what we're asked them to do. And then one of the students, I think, that's Katie from math education.
She went to the printer.
Yeah, because one of her dream is she wants to become an author of books. So this portfolio, she take it as the first book. So this is like a book. She's set a footprints for her. You know.
Future, she's going to create her second book. She said. So
for her, the exam was a way for her to actually make her dream come true in creating a book. So she actually went to the printing center to print this book, and then she actually applied to the library to put the book in the library, put the portfolio in the library. So she did it on her own initiative without us telling her to do so. Okay. Next, Ibu Susi.
Okay, so we asked the students to do portfolio, to do reflection. So I think we cannot, as a teacher or a lecturer, we cannot just ask them to do, right? We cannot ask students to do something, but we don't do something, the same thing. So this is what we do. This is what we did with, for reflective, how to reflect to our teaching, how to reflect to our class. So Ibu Putih, if you see here, try to, she wrote something because Ibu Putih has your own blog, right? Yeah. So she wrote a lot of things there. But to me, I like to have something short. I like to, improve my poems, poetic skills. So I tried to come up with an acrostic poem about teacher. So I tried to define what teacher means to me. Based on my teaching class. So that's how we did, so we tried to practice on what we preach to our students or what we teach to our students. So at the end, I will say that reflective practice is the key element to making me and future candidates become better educators and lifelong learners. Because to me, I believe that as a lecturer, as a teacher, we are lifelong learners. We never stop learning. So that's how I would like, how I love this, profession as a teacher or lecturer. I think I will try to, we will try to take another quote from Albert Einstein. So this quote is, was posted in one of the articles that we gave to our students about reflective practice. So he said that learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. So that important thing is not to stop questioning. So reflecting is about questioning. Did I do well in my class? Did I need to improve something, so asking questions or questioning is will give us or will motivate us to move forward. So, since we have this is no video. So maybe if we don't have much time, we just want to share. If we close the lesson, we try to wrap up our lesson with to check our students' understanding whether like they listen to us. So we share something like action tickets or 2 things that we have learned, and then 2 things that you want to ask if they're not sure about about the topic that we just shared, and then maybe 1 thing that they can adopt in your lesson.
Does anybody want? You don't have to do 3 to 1, but if anybody has something that you'd like to share, or maybe share what you've learned, or you have questions to ask, or you think of something that you can apply in your own classroom.
I think I was looking my portfolio. I think that's a great portfolio.
Use a portfolio in your class, yeah.
3 things that I have learned.
Yes?
Number 1, give examples. The second one is actually let the students to think, not just what they learn, but a little bit outside of the box so that they can develop. And number 3 is of course collaboration.
Thank you, Pak Eka.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susi and Ibu Pedagogi for a very inspiring session. Yeah. So last but not least, we still have Ibu Rika. Now we will represent Department of Arts and Science ya Bapak Ibu. Pak Tama mau tampil lagi kayaknya.
Good morning. Good morning, Bapak Ibu. Good morning, Papi. Actually, today, thank you, Bu Desi from CETL that provided this opportunity for us, especially for me, to share what we did in the teaching and learning activity. Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you, Bu Desi. Okay.
Siapa tahu bukan butika juga.
So again, Bu Desi, thank you so much because starting this morning, I saw a lot of lecture make me inspired. And I think this is a very good Bu Desi for our semester. We did regularly, so it's not necessarily we can share what we have, what I have done, but then I will get some learning or information that I will get from other lecturers. Okay, so Bapak Ibu, today I would like to share what I have done in the fall semester. I highlighted with the topic enhancing learning enthusiasm through collaborative learning. I highlighted 2 words in here, enthusiasm and collaborative learning. Why? I taught statistics this semester fall semester. 2 types of the class statistics. The first one is the general statistics. The second one is statistics for engineering, introduction to engineering probability statistics. What I would like to share is class statistics for the Gen Ed. Why? Because it is very challenging for me as a lecturer. Because these classes, it is come from various study program. Yes, the student, it is come from the several different study program. So it is very challenging for me as a lecturer to think what is the strategy that I need to plan in order students have a good understanding in statistics. So this is challenging. And then I have taught this courses several years ago, statistics with Gen Ed, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years ago. And I made some challenge, but it's not really difficult as this semester, because last time, the class statistics just only consists of 2 study program students, which is management and computer science. Yeah, so it is not as difficult as last semester. Why I say difficult, it is because again, in statistics class, there is some learning outcome to be achieved, but they have different understanding. We can say different comprehension in every student, yeah, because they come from different study program. So this is some study program that I enroll in my class this fall: computer science, PCD, management, accounting, and English language education. The different thing in class for engineering, just only for engineering, and then different learning outcome as well. So I will not talk about that. Okay. Okay. So again, this one that brings me to this topic: enthusiasm and collaborative, because the class consists of several study programs, and then the different comprehension among students. So I, as a lecturer, should have like some strategy in order to make it student enthusiast learning statistics. Yeah, because it's not easy, I think, for PCD students. It's not easy for management students to learn about statistics. I think it's easy for the computer science or English language education, but then for other subjects, it's not easy. So I come up with collaborative learning. Perhaps some colleagues from education is very common to hear about this, but then I implement collaborative learning in my class. It is, we can say it is trial error. It's because I don't know whether this collaborative, in the beginning of the classes, at the beginning of the semester, I don't know whether this method or strategy good for a student or not. So this is actually trial error. And I will share to you the finding at the end of the semester, what they got in the process of implementing collaborative learning. Okay, again, why collaborative learning? Why I choose collaborative learning instead of another kind of strategy? Because first, it is a student center. My class in statistics is a large number of the students, 25, and in the other class it is 28 if I'm not mistaken. So if I make it lecture center, it is a little bit hard. So I make it as a student center, and I choose the collaborative learning. And then some of studies say that the collaborative learning can be increased student learning enthusiasm. Okay. And then again, the social preparation as well. So that's why I choose this one, Bu Putih, in your presentation. That this one is kind of part preparation for social life for later on. And also the collaborative learning, it is the first perspective and also the skill development as well. Yeah. So what is the strategy? Actually, the collaborative learning, there is not just only this 4 items, but then in my class I just only implement this 4 items plus the conventional one, which is just on the lecturer. Yeah, I think for some lecturer from education, perhaps familiar with this one, but then again, in the beginning I said this is trial and error in my class. I don't know if this is effective or not in my class, and then okay, so this is some topic and some collaborative strategy that I implement in the class. I have more or less 10 topics, but then I just only use 6 instead of all of the topics using the collaborative one. The rest of the 4 topics, I just only use the conventional one, lecturing, and then answering some question or just as usual. But I highlighted some strategy in in some topic. For example, I put it in per share, in frequency table and graphs. I choose team-based learning in describing and exploring data. Actually, in the beginning, I don't know also it is team pressure is beneficial for the frequency table and graph, or perhaps the team-based learning, it can be good for describing and exploring data. Actually, in the beginning, I don't know. But I did some quick questionnaire to the student every 4 weeks. So when I finish, let's say in the first 4 weeks, and I finish 2 topics, after that I share some qualitative questionnaire, just asking what is your opinion about this method of learning. Do you like it, or do you think that it is beneficial for you, or do you feel bored, and etc. And it happened when I did it until 3rd topic and 4th topic, yeah. It is, if I'm not mistaken, the 8th week of the classes. It shows that the team they feel that the team pressure is the one that they like. So I repeated again team pressure for the another topic, which is hypothesis testing, as well as team-based learning. The qualitative questionnaire say that they very interested in team-based learning. So I implement again this one. Okay, so again, not all of the topic that implement the collaborative learning, but this is just only the highlight that I want to implement this strategy to my classes. Okay, so I don't want to explain more detail about what is team pressure and answer, because some of education colleges perhaps know more and know in detail, but then I just put in some highlighted how I implement team pressure in frequency table and graph. So I made it some problem related to their daily activity about frequency and table. For example, since I teach in statistics class with management student can, the problem like, for example, they find how to calculate, let's say section A, number of students, 35 male, 32 male, and then they, in the group, develop the frequency table and graph, okay? And we give it a more amount of time and discuss with the partners. And after that, share the discussion, the outcome of the result. This is for the team pressure. And then I also implement team-based learning, describing and exploring data, because they will work with some kind of data, especially for the students. I think for all of the students here, because they need statistics as a basic statistic for their final year project or for their capstone project. So I divided students into a group and assign some tasks or assignment, and then give some examination group level, let's say just quiz or some questions. Record the student answer and include the name of them, and explain the difficulty and resolve all student doubt. So this one, it is one kind of strategy for collaborative learning that they really like, yeah, for the team-based learning. Other than that, I implement catch-up in basic concept of the probability. I combine this implement basic concept probability using the conventional one. I lecture it first, and then after that I stop suddenly the meantime of the lecturing, and ask students to compare their notes and ask questioning, yeah, if any, right? But again, when I did this one, I'm surprised that some of students, like from the PCD student, asking something that I believe that question is supposed to be asking by computer science student. Yeah, but again, all of the in my class, I would like to share that for VCD student, English language student, and computer science student, they have what we call it, higher understanding, higher comprehension from other students. I will not say the management is lower than other, Papa Nanda, but then this is very difficult for me to teach management. I was thinking that a little bit difficult to teach VCD student, but then it's come up VCD student has a good thinking for analyzing statistics for depending on the management student. Yeah. Okay. So this is some finding that I found in the class. Again, I give the student questionnaire to check their interest in the method after 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and 12 weeks before the final exam. And then the result is they happy with the method of the learning. And then it also impacted the final grade for some students. I personally thought they would need some improvement in the class, but they saw the promising result. Yeah, in the final exam and before the final exam, when I did some assessment, it showed that ternyata mereka bisa ngerjain ini gitu ya, yang saya sebenarnya nggak nyangka mereka bisa ngerjain itu gitu ya. Itu yang membuat saya this trial and error is success. I think we can say like that. Yeah. I highlighted something. However, all of the students have a great result, but then we are unable to surface all of the students because again, I found also some students that we can say that they meet some difficulties follow within using this method. Ya, jadi nggak semuanya ternyata bisa gitu. Ada beberapa yang memang mereka bilang mereka nggak suka ya, mungkin karena personalitinya mereka yang terlalu introvert atau dan yang lain hal gitu. But then I put in some, I don't know it can be read or not, but this is it one kind of the example of the questionnaire. Saya nggak bikin semuanya muncul di sini, nanti saya jadi kebanyakan. This is just only sample from the student about the qualitative questionnaire that I given about the method. The first, I think today activity is fun, better than group learning because group learning as usual I think, yeah. Because we have the gist of what we are doing. And then today is fun, interactive, but do not feel left behind. So this is, I think this one, the one that I thought that this is one of the successful trial error implemented of the method of learning. They said that do not feel left behind, and I personally like this better than quiz mendadak atau random point or something kata mereka kayak gitu ya. And then I actually enjoy today because I'm learning with friends that I'm comfortable with. So this is the highlight that I found. Oh ternyata anak-anak juga seneng banget bekerja bersama teman-teman gitu ya. Dibanding mereka harus mengerjakan problem statistik sendirian gitu ya. Even if I didn't understand, but I still can ask them whether without barriers of communication. So I think it is one of the way method of learning that can be implemented with the student. This is just what happened in my class, but I don't know with some other courses it can be implemented or not. But again, this one the highlight of the response. It is fun and not boring. Okay, this one the highlight as well. When I choose this strategy, I would student not feel boring learning statistics gitu. Jadi kalau anaknya aja sudah boring, nggak semangat, mau gimana mereka ngerti ngerti gitu kan ya Bapak Ibu ya gitu. Mau masuk aja kayak males banget nih kelasnya Butika gitu kan ya gitu ya. Jadi itu yang mungkin akhirnya saya ciptakan gimana caranya mereka senang dengan I change some strategy every topic gitu ya, to make it some reinforcement to them. Jadi mereka juga nggak melulu dengan metode yang sama. Besides that, also I implement some technology, but I'm not highlighted in here. The technology just only like to make sure they also active in technology using in Desmos. Perhaps some mathematics lecturer also always use it. And also I got some impact from the students that they also happy using the Desmos, but it is especially for some other topic and not all of it are about statistics, because I thought that the Desmos can be implemented, but not all of the topic in statistics can be implemented using the Desmos. Okay, I think this is the Bu Desi and Bu Susi Bu Putih and Bu Susi give some quote. I will also put some quote that inspired me for this collaborative learning is talents with games, but the teamwork and intelligence win the championship. Thank you. Ya Pak, boleh Pak.
Butika, teaching, what was that? Statistic?
Yeah, statistic Pak.
I think it's the most challenging
Buat yang backgroundnya satu sama aja, menurut saya itu saya juga challenging ya. Pas ini saya melihat bahwa ada PCD, ada computer science, ada manajemen gitu yang mereka punya pemahaman yang berbeda gitu ya mereka.
So again then, with several backgrounds of the students, I believe that you have already tried to. You are a good facilitator. I learned a lot also from you last time, remember. But the things is actually with the students itself, and they, well, I mean, this is the things, and with the statistic, and then how could you put them at the same hands on, like the same page? Of course, then with the different interests, they have to take the class, but to bring that with patients actually at the same page is the most challenging. I don't know whether you think that the most challenging part, or probably you consider something else as the most challenging part?
Yeah, the most challenging part, it is the understanding in every student part. How they understand something is different. For example, when they been asked to create a graph, histogram, for example, in a simple way histogram. Sometimes computer science is already create the correct one without. For example, without example, I'm not giving an example at the time, but I given some problem to them to create the histogram. And then, but then management student create the histogram with a different thing. Yeah, so I think the most challenging for me is how they understand to create, to solve the problem, we can say like that. Because the statistic, I would like them also know how implement the theory, but it can be implemented in the daily activity ya, Pak. Karena kan kayak ngantri aja gitu kan bayar statistik, atau random sampling, coin toss gitu kan ya, itu susah banget saya ngenalin ke anak manajemen gitu Pak. Gitu sih, itu semua challenge. Iya, saya sampai curhat sebenarnya mau mana ya. Saya nggak tahu lagi gimana ini ke anak manajemen. But then some of management students has a good score, and then they said that they really like to have like discussion, not monotone, just lecturing, explain something, blah blah blah.
So the opportunity to share with their peers.
Iya, the opportunity to reveal how they communicate and discussion, ya gitu. Tapi ada juga yang beberapa yang ya itu come up dengan pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang visi di sini itu ada yang, Miss, it is talk about the estimating parameter, and Miss, why we need to estimate it? Why do you just only give it like this is the parameter, and we can use it? Why we need to estimate? Yeah. The question that the critical question that is come up from other students that I believe they will not ask about that gitu ya Pak, gitu ya, kayak gitu sih Pak.
Thank you.
Iya, thank you mereka.
Thank you so much.
Challenge
Siapa
to
punya
management.
Namanya siapa?
Mau dikepuasin ya motornya.
Yeah, so this is the end of the session, but before that, I have a quote for you. Okay, I'm very sure, yeah. A good lecturer can inspire hope. Ignite the imagination and instill a love of learning. Okay, so before we close the session, I'm going to invite our Bapak, our Vice Rector of Academic Affairs, Pak. So we are going to give the token of appreciation to all presenters today.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to extend my really appreciation to Center of Excellence in Teaching and Learning Head. Because this is the first Teaching Learning Festival after the last Teaching Festival, like when Pak Iwan was the head of, we call it at the time, CLTCD. So this is again after 3 or 4 years, we start again this festival intended to facilitate the sharing session among lecturers. And then of course, because we have different discipline, it doesn't mean that we cannot share. From the presentation today, we learned a lot. I myself, for example, learned from Pak and also from Pak Tombak the new term like co-creativity.
Yes.
So that's a new thing because creativity can be built by together. So that's very interesting. And then also from FOB team, I can learn about how persistent they encourage the students to put everything in paper. Amazing, after they analyze the video of marketing or whatever discussion or survey result end up in a paper and publishable paper. That's amazing, and then from FOE, my from Susi, and I can imagine how it was so interesting, joyful lesson you share with your students during that class. I can sense the passion of teaching and shared radiated to the students with all those activities. Kalau cinta itu radiates, jadi that's right. And the last one, from Butika, from FAS, we can see that even how like difficult, challenging class, if you find out best strategies, appropriate strategies to share, then the students may enjoy the class. So thank you very much for all the presenters. We will do again next semester. Of course, we'll invite other lecturers to share, to take turns, because sharing is caring. I also would like to appreciate all the participants who attended this session from the beginning until the end. So I believe that it would present attending session. So thank you very much again, and for your information that what CETL is doing now is really part of teacher development. that is also required by all the accreditation process. Yeah. So when we are talking about accreditation process, be it Ban PT for study program, or for APT, or for MECI, or for other international accreditation, we need a story to tell. And this is part of the story that you can tell later on in your accreditation purposes. So there are so many benefits that we can share with this, and Bu Desi, as the head of this area, also provide you with other activities. So please, welcome, look forward to what Ibu Eci is offering to you all, because it is in the framework of professional development.